Welcome back to the weekend wrap. No production, just my thoughts. So usually when I go to an event, I'll splice a little bit of footage into the video, but I guess that does count as production, right? But no, what I think I will do is I might put a little bit of what was there towards the end, right at the end of the video, purely because like I didn't take any pageantry, any like background stuff. It was all just footage from the fights. So as I'll be breaking those down on Tuesday on the Undefeated podcast channel, yes, guess it's only right I just kind of talk through the overall experience of when I was there. So by I guess what we'll say a twist of fate, I wasn't actually expecting to go to the arena until about 8:45, sort of them sort of times. But due to leaving a prior function that I was at earlier than expected, I ended up going, I got there literally 7 o'clock. So I was there from the time, basically the broadcast itself would have started on BT Sport. I think it started at 7. But yeah, it's changed. I haven't been to the Copper Box since Lyndon Arthur Anthony Yard 2. And yeah, that parking and everything is very, very different in the year that's preceded. But me being me, I managed to find the space right by the Copper Box, which was cool. The first fight of the night, I will be honest, I don't remember who they were or what they done. I think it was a 6-rounder, but I wasn't paying attention. I was on my phone. Again, I wasn't planning on being there as early as I was. So yeah, that was, to me, I thought, oh, this might be a bit of a long one. Anyway, the second fight was Denzel Bentley versus Kieran Smith, which I was a bit surprised at, to be honest. I would have thought that fight should have been a bit later up the card. British champion, just fought for a world title in his last fight. I mean, to me, that would have made me say, yeah, like, that's where you need to, that should be third from top. But I guess it didn't matter where it was because it lasted 45 seconds. From the angle I was at, right? So I've recorded the entire 45 seconds. I've got it all on my phone. But when Denzel initially went in for the first attack, the first thing, obviously the first punch didn't land, but when he threw sort of a short check hook, I didn't actually clock that it hit initially. Like, I just saw Kieran sort of step back, so I thought like, oh, he might have grazed him, and then he ended up on the rope. So I thought, oh, okay, let's see what happens here. And then I remember he was moving, and then he moved in to the big right hook from Denzel, out cold, and Denzel hits him again on the way down. And I said, yo, okay. And then I see him just there lying motionless on the ground. And then the ref waved off. I was like, oh, okay. Well, if this is how this night's going to go, maybe we might be out of here fairly early. So, yeah, there was that one. I can't remember the fight that was after that. But then I remember after that was the Moises Atalma versus, oh, no, it was the Sam Noakes fight was the next one against that Karthik, the Indian guy. Name I don't remember. Apologies. But yeah, so I predicted actually I didn't accumulate a bet, so I predicted that Denzel will get the KO. I predicted that Sam Noakes will get the KO. And then, next one, Moises Atalma against, what's his name? Konstantinian Dobsichenko, something like that. Now, when I had heard that this guy had never been stopped previously, so that was obviously the goal. First thing I did was I looked at his box rec, because I'd not heard of him, to see like who he'd fought. And then I saw names like Jose Lardaway. I saw Andre Radenko. I saw Zhang Kosobutsky. I saw what's his name? Is it Vladislav Serenkin? I think it was. Who's obviously he's like 19-0 with 16 KOs. You got Zhang who I think is 16-0 with 15 KOs. And the only person to take him the distance was this Dabashenko. So I said, okay, if this guy's going the distance with them, ain't no way he's losing this. So I predicted for Moises to win on points, and that came to fruition. Like he tried to hit him with the kitchen sink in rounds 1 and 2. But you know, Dabashenko he tucked up. It was a nice solid performance. He pushed. He was a little applied pressure to Moises, and you could tell that he's not used to fighting more than sort of 2-3 rounds at a time, because by the time the 3rd round came, like his energy, his gas tank was almost spent. If Dabashenko came in with any, I guess, real ambition to properly hurt him or to properly go for him, at that point it may have been testy waters. But that also being said, Moises has had very, very good movement. His punch selection throughout the night, the first 2 rounds, obviously he was just trying to get the guy out of there. But after that, hitting and moving, the combinations he was throwing, pretty good head movement. Defense was decent. He's got all the makings to be like a top guy, and I feel like the fact that he now knows that he can't just punch people out of there in the pros, I feel like he's now going to start working on more of his game outside of just, I guess, his power punches and power shots. And hopefully in his next 6-rounder, he will get put in with someone of a similar level to Dabashenko, you know, and not go back to just looking for those highlight reel knockouts after 3 or 4 seconds, because those don't really, you know, do anything for the career. These are the rounds that he needs. He needs to face these little bits of mini adversity from now. And I feel like in doing so, that will stand him in good stead moving forward. But the fact he's 18 just means that, look, the ceiling is very high with him, in my opinion. But it's good that he didn't have it all his way from early, and now he knows what he's got to work on, the gas tank being one of them. Because like I said, anyone with any real ambition, yeah. So then you move on to the co-main event. By the way, before I even get there, I don't understand why Moises is being put so high up on the cards. I feel like they're almost making the same mistake that they made with Campbell Hatton and a bunch of other guys. It's like, really and truly, you should be on the before the bell portions at these points in your career, like dealing with the no crowd and gradually moving up. Or if you're going to be on the main card, be the first bout or the second. I don't see how Moises gets to be ahead of someone like Denzel Bentley. But yeah, that's obviously, I don't make the cards, it's not my play. I just feel like that's a little bit of a piss take, personally. Anyway, so we had Michaela Mayo versus, I think it's Lucy Wildheart. I'm going to hope it's Lucy and not Lisa. But yeah, we'll just call her Wildheart, that'll be easier. Now, obviously this was a big disappointment. I was looking forward to the Christina Leonardo 2 fight, as I expected Christina would give her some definite good work, and I felt based on Christina's power, she would definitely give Michaela things to think about. Bearing in mind she's a woman that, you know, campaigns as high as 140, whereas Michaela's been at 130. Now Michaela could probably quite easily get up to 140, 147, 154 just due to her height, but obviously her frame is just naturally a bit smaller. But this Lucy Wildheart is a featherweight, essentially. Yeah, she's fought 135 before, 130, but like she's down as low as 124 in a previous bout. So she's effectively, you know, fights at featherweight. And based on the punch selection that Michaela Mayo was picking throughout pretty much this entire bout, I mean, I predicted that she'd actually get the KO. I know that the odds were really good on the KO. And to me, you'd think, well, if you've added these extra 5 pounds, you get to build a little more muscle, you get to sit down on these shots. You're now fighting someone that's a natural 126-pound girl, so it's not even the same as Leonardo 2, but she maybe wobbled the girl once or twice in the fight. You know, she was investing a lot of work to the body, but I feel like she could have let her hands go a lot more. And if she was going to invest to the body as much as she did, maybe like really drive down into the body, not stabbing with the jab, because you've got 2-minute rounds. Like, you don't really get the chance to set things up like that. So if you're gonna go down there, drive the backhand to the body and then come up with the, you know, with the left hook as the second punch in the series. The fact that she didn't get the girl out of there, I know she busted up her nose very badly, but yeah, it now tells me officially that Mayo doesn't have power of any note. I always thought at, you know, 130, maybe it's just a case of not having enough size behind the shots, because she used to get a couple stoppages earlier on in the career when she started at like 135. But yeah, it just looks like whatever power may have been there, it's not there anymore. So based on the performance, I mean, I definitely now would still favor Katie Taylor to beat her if she gets that shot. If Katie does in fact move back down to 135 after her fight with Chantel Cameron, we'll see. But yeah, don't really want to talk too much about it. It was a fine performance overall. Like I said, punch selection was good. Like, I felt like she really should have been controlling the center of the ring more than moving around and letting the smaller girl actually dictate where the fight's going to be fought. I thought that was a little bit strange, but maybe Coach Al told her to do that and use this as just rounds in the bank. Who knows? But anyway, let's get to the main event, because that's what we're here to talk about. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into it because, again, breakdown on Tuesday. However, I told you guys I had the dream, right? And in the dream, in the second round, Joyce gets floored. He goes down in the dream. That very nearly happened in the fight. And in the fourth round as well, which was another one in the dream that I had. So let's break down this fight first of all. So Joyce came in at 256 pounds, give or take, which is about a stone lighter than he was against Joseph Parker. But that weight has been a weight that he's pretty much been in and around his entire career. There's only been, I think, 3 fights he's had where he's weighed more than, I think, 262. He's always kind of been in around sort of 256, 257, 258. But I had a feeling, knowing the fact that Zhang, who used to come in sort of in and around those 250s, 260s as well, and now is up at the 280s, he's clearly found his sweet spot where he feels like he's got that perfect blend of power, resistance, and being able to manage the rounds. Now, the one thing that I thought is that initially, so let's go into my very first, before I put my prediction out there. My very first thoughts was that Zhang was going to win this fight. And my prediction was I was actually thinking by a decision, after having maybe rocked and dropped Joyce a couple times. Then I started to think, well, I don't think he'll be able to knock Joyce out. So if he doesn't knock Joyce out, Joyce will get it on the cards. So then I started thinking it might be Joyce by decision. Then I heard Howard Foster was the referee. And that said to me instantly, okay, Joyce is going to get a Buki stoppage somewhere in this fight. And you guys saw my disappointment on the previous episode on Basis Picks. So, yeah, but I never thought that Zhang would get the KO, purely because I never pictured the scenario as it played out. Now, that scenario, obviously, it's not really one that you properly you really think about when you're doing your prediction videos. Everything you always think of a clean scenario. you never think of a doctor stoppage. That's not really something that ever plays into it. But it was one of those situations where Joyce could have carried on, because the doctor was asking him how many fingers he's holding up, and he could see the fingers. He was counting them correctly, 3, 2, 1, whatever the doctor's putting up. But on the second time looking at the eye, I feel like Howard Foster just said, yeah, this is only going to get worse. You're not really defending it. It just keeps getting bigger. I want to save you some damage. Now, I can't begrudge it, because, you have a duty of care to the combatants, but we've still got to look at it in one way. Joyce still has an amazing chin. Like, you can't question the chin, because those same shots that Zhang hit him with have knocked down pretty much every other opponent he's faced. Even if he hasn't knocked them out, he's knocked them down. And Joyce was on his feet the entire time. He got wobbled a few times, but he kept ploughing forward. He kept plugging forward. Now, tactics is where I feel like he got this one wrong, because he dropped a lot of weight, a stone in weight, but yet decided to try and stay in the pocket. Now, if you remember on my predictions video, I said at that weight, I feel like he's probably looking to be a bit quicker on his feet to sort of hit from the outside and make Zhang have to move, wear him out, and then sort of take him down the back stretch. But rather than do that, he stayed virtually mid-range with Zhang the entire fight, and then sort of even tried to muscle him around. But it's like, this guy weighs 20 pounds more than you. You can tell that he just looks like a naturally heavier set. And, them Chinese men are powerful. They're just inherently strong, just like Africans. Like, inherently, there's a level of size and strength and power and honor within their bodies. It's just how it is, regardless of whether they're small guys or big guys. So I just looked at that and I was thinking, the tactics here are all wrong. And then the punches were slow. Like, obviously, we know he's got very slow mechanics and dynamics, but he's usually got a very fast jab. His jab is usually very fast. It always hits the target. It always lands. The jab had nothing on it for the most part. Now, yeah, I know southpaw, you're having to kind of probe through that lead hand of the southpaw and everything, so you can't really get the full torque on it. But then everything on the backhand, just nothing was there. But I said, Zhang's got slower feet than Joyce, but his hands are quick for a guy his size, and his combos were deadly, and that backhand was just landing at will. So it just tells you that Joyce it's almost like he either couldn't prepare for the southpaw, didn't prepare properly, or you just look at his body mechanics and realize southpaws are not his bag. Can't do it. The way he moves, the way he turns, his entire body, just his functionality doesn't work well with southpaws. We saw it with Usyk in the World Series of Boxing. Lenroy Thomas, obviously he got through Thomas because Thomas isn't a big guy, but he did have a bit of trouble in that bout as well, and clearly he hasn't been working on that since. So you can just kind of, I guess, see that that's his bane, and that's where he's always going to have problems. So for now, I don't think he's ever going to face a southpaw again. I don't think he's going to take the rematch, and if he does, to me, that's a calamity waiting to happen. He might as well just swerve that, go another route, and see if I was him, I'd try and get the Dubois rematch. That's what I would do, but or something like that, just to get a bit of that confidence back. But that being said, again, Zhang, he deserves his flowers. Unofficial winner against Filip Hrgović. Has now basically KO'd Joyce. The first guy to do that, first guy to put him in any huge problems. But he's also the first big puncher that Joyce has faced as a professional. And that's something I have said previously. Joyce has never faced like a massive puncher before. So we're all rating the chin, but we're not rating it against like the biggest and baddest in the division. Like, we're rating it against guys with decent pop, because everyone can hit a heavyweight, but not the guys that you're fearing, you know, you're God fearing that when they walk in the ring. So yeah, look, it will be interesting to see what happens after that. But look, let me leave this here because there wasn't a huge other amount to talk about. Catch me on the Neutral Corner later on today, or I guess tomorrow, from Fight Fan TV Live's YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description, and yeah, I will see you guys over there. And then it's Monday Night Smoke tomorrow. I've got some very tasty and choice words for several people. I will be on a lot of smoke because this result changes a few narratives that have come out of late. But oh, also, I guess Dillian White was in the building. I think he wanted to call out Joyce, but it looks like as Joyce has lost, I don't know if he's looking to call out Zhang or if he's going to yeah, go another route now. We'll see. But yeah, let me leave it there. That's the weekend wrapped up. I'll put a little bit of footage at the end here for you, and yeah, keep it moving. Catch you on the next one. Oh, before I forget, shout out to JD Boxing. He predicted on the Basis Picks video that Zhang would beat Joyce KO in 6. He got it bang on. He doesn't normally get them right on my videos when he predicts, but this one he did get bang on. He believed in the Chinese power. He didn't let the Howard Foster anomaly like persuade him and dissuade him from his thoughts like I did. But yes, he got it bang on. So you have to get full credit, full respect. Big up to you. I'll catch you on the next video. I'll catch you on Twitter. We'll chop it up. And yeah, salute. Right, but for now, I'm off. Peace.